What's good, Detroit Sports Nation? I am Eric Vincent, your host here at the DSN News Desk, back again to chop it up with you, the best fan base in the world. I appreciate your time and support as we're on our road to 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we're getting so close. We're getting so close to making it happen, so thank you to everybody that's been subscribing and locking in with us. If you haven't done so yet, what are you waiting for? Please like the video down below, subscribe so you can stay tuned with us, and we can keep bringing you this amazing content here. Now let's get into the news today. If you're like me, you've been following along with the Detroit Lions very closely. You know, they're in training camp mode. They had their first preseason game last week, and they're getting that much closer to the regular season. And we're all excited. We're all hype up for what we see and what we're speculating. It's been a lot of standout players so far, and it's been some players that are struggling, you know, trying to make things happen. And unfortunately, for one of those players, one of the most important players on the Lions roster this year, and that would be Mr. Jeff Okudah, who has as much to prove on this team as anybody. Jeff Okudah has a very big make-or-break season. It's his third year with the team. He was drafted as the number 3 overall pick, coming off an Achilles tear after the last season in the first week, I think, against San Francisco. He's got a lot on the line to prove. He's one of the last pieces of the Quinn Trisha era. He was a pick by them, and it was a lot of speculation and there was a lot of debate on whether it was the right guy. Gambling for a cornerback that high, was he going to be worth it? And given the reputation of Ohio State cornerbacks, you have high expectations for guys like him. And given his physique, given his skill set, given what we saw in college, he seemed like a good player. But that doesn't always pan out in the league. You know, not always going to be Marshawn Lattimore for the Saints or whatever. At this moment, we're seeing that with Jeff Okudah, who apparently had a tough time in training camp against the Indianapolis Colts in a scrimmage. Apparently, Matt Ryan was quite surgical against the Lions defense. I think he completed, 10 out of 12 passes. I think it was 10 straight he got in a row on this defense. There's a good write-up on it on our website, DetroitSportsNation.com. Check it out. My man W.G. Brady did an awesome job on it. Please check it out if you get a chance. And do some background learning on it, man, because for what we're hearing about Jeff Okudah, I'm pretty worried because Jeff Okudah, while he's a young player, he's not on the same timeline as the rest of this team. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. There's a lot of young players on this team, including Jeff Okudah, but he is not on the same timeline as the rest of this team. There are a lot of rookies on this roster, especially on the defense, even on the offense as well, where they're in positions where they can make mistakes, they can have growing pains, and show that they're young players because the Lions are not in a win-now position right now. They're not in a position where, even though the NFC is not as strong as it used to be, the NFC North is not as strong as it used to be, nobody is expecting the Lions to become contenders just like that overnight. It's not going to happen. But Jeff Okudah is not in that same predicament. He doesn't have that same leverage. He's in a position where the Lions could cut him as soon as next season. He can let him go as soon as next season. From the promise that the Lions the Lions showed a lot of promise in the secondary last season. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you watched Jerry Jacob play last season before he got hurt, he was a phenomenal not want to say shutdown, but he was really breaking out as an unbelievably talented cornerback. We saw from Owarie as well. Had one of the biggest plays of the year in that pick against the Arizona Cardinals. Had, 6 or 7 interceptions, I believe? He was a fantastic player last season. And we have others as well. I believe they just drafted, Casper, the cornerback rookie, drafted in the 7th round. I believe he had a chance to pick off the Falcons in the 4th quarter and help seal the game, but he missed it. And that was a huge play. But he has shown a lot of ball hawk instincts. He's shown some promise. And from what we've seen in Hard Knocks, this coaching staff is not scared to play young players. Shout out to Malcolm Rodriguez. Go ahead, Rodrigo. Listen, this team is in a position where they need Jeff Okudah's best right now. He's not in a position, even after coming off an injury, being in his 3rd year. I know he's still a young player, but he needs to show that he's worth hanging around right now. He has to show that right now. There's no guarantee or promise that this regime is going to keep him just because he was a high pick. He has upside, but they don't have to keep him. They're sitting in a position where the Lions could have another high draft pick, where they could have numerous draft picks, where they can absolutely put a lot of those resources into the secondary. So if Okudah doesn't step up and show that he's worth keeping around, he's going to be out of here pretty soon. And we don't want to see that. I mean, I have high hopes for him. I think he can be good. I think he can work with this team with, a lot of resources put into the defensive line. I think he can make something happen. But if what we're hearing is correct, and he's really struggling against the Colts receivers, who, let's be clear, the Colts don't have any elite wide receivers. Not one. Michael Pittman's cool. Having Matt Ryan under center is good. I like him more than Carson Wentz. You upgraded. You have arguably the best running back in football and still a top 5 offensive line. But their receivers are not all that. You expect Jeff Okudah to be able to hold his own against the Colts receiving core. That shouldn't be too much to ask for, man. And who knows? It could be, maybe it's an indication that the D-line wasn't getting in and putting pressure on the quarterback. And that opened up a window to get the ball to the receivers. Who knows? Again, we've seen plays that have shown Okudah being productive. We've seen him breaking up passes, but we're also hearing a lot of chatter and reports that he's struggling as well. He's not in a position where, he's not even in a position where he can play bad. He's not in a position where he can play bad or just okay. He has to show that he's good. He has to show that he's consistent, that he can stay on the field, that he can shadow, that he can play his zones, that he can stay disciplined as a corner, and is worth whatever faith and vision that the Quinn Trisha era saw in him. He has to prove that right now. He does not have the same leverage, unfortunately. And again, it may not even be his fault because of the injuries, but his time is running short, and he needs to make something happen now. But let me know if I'm tripping. Talk to me down below. Let us know in the comments what you think about what's going on with Jeff Okudah. Let me know in our YouTube section. Talk to us on social media as well. We're up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the above. And of course, again, be sure to check out my man WG Brady's article. Awesome job, per usual. DetroitSportsNation.com. You can check it out on there. Let me know again in the comment section if you think Jeff Okudah is going to have a bounce back season, where your hopes are, where your standards are for him. Again, I think he's on a short window, but we'll see what happens next. Again, please subscribe and stay tuned in to lock in with us here at Detroit Sports Nation. Follow me as well at I am Eric Vincent, and I will see you again soon here on the DSN News Desk. Peace.